In the quiet town of Maplewood, life moved at a gentle pace where every face was familiar and every corner held a memory. One cool autumn morning, as the first light filtered through the amber leaves, Buddy, a cheerful golden retriever known for his uncanny sense of intuition, started barking relentlessly near the old cemetery. His barks, sharp and insistent, echoed off the moss-covered tombstones, drawing the attention of everyone nearby. Jack, Buddy's owner, stepped outside with a puzzled look. "Buddy, what's gotten into you today?" he asked, kneeling beside the eager dog. The animal's piercing eyes fixed on a secluded patch of the cemetery where ivy clung to an old stone wall. It wasn't long before Jack called his friend Sarah, the town's unofficial historian, known for her passion for uncovering forgotten tales. "Sarah, you need to come see this," Jack said over the phone, his voice a mix of curiosity and concern. Within minutes, Sarah arrived, her eyes lighting up with anticipation as she surveyed the area. "I've read countless stories about hidden relics around here, but I never imagined something like this," she murmured, her gaze fixed on a mysterious wooden structure partially concealed by tangled vines. Together, they approached the peculiar structure. A weathered coffin resting against a crumbling mausoleum wall. Its carved edges bore symbols that hinted at a story long buried in time. Sarah brushed away the ivy with reverence. "It looks as if no one has disturbed this for decades," she observed softly. "Should we call someone?" Jack asked, hesitating as he looked between the ancient coffin and his loyal dog, who now pawed eagerly at the base. "I think Buddy knew exactly where to lead us," Sarah replied, her voice tinged with excitement. "There's something here that deserves to be remembered." After a brief, heartfelt discussion, they decided to open the coffin. With a gentle heave, they pried the heavy lid open. Instead of the expected solemn silence, a small, intricately carved wooden box revealed itself inside, wrapped in a faded velvet cloth. The box contained a collection of handwritten letters, a delicate locket engraved with the words, "For those who love," and a sepia-toned photograph of a man in uniform whose kind eyes seemed to tell 1,000 untold stories. Jack picked up one of the letters with trembling hands. "Look at this date, 1945, he said, his voice hushed. Sarah leaned in and read aloud. "Dear friend, if you are reading these words, know that I gave my life in service to the people I cherished. I hoped my sacrifice would remind future generations that even in the darkest of times, hope and love can prevail." The letter, penned in careful, flowing script, was signed by Samuel Harper. The revelation sent ripples of emotion through the small duo. Samuel Harper had been a local hero, one who had lost his life in a selfless act during a great fire that once threatened the town. His courageous deeds had been spoken of in hushed tones and remembered in local lore, yet his final resting place had remained a mystery, hidden away until Buddy's determined barks unearthed it. "We've discovered more than just history today," Sarah said, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "We've found a testament to bravery, sacrifice, and love. Samuel Harper isn't just a name. He's a symbol of everything we hold dear in this community." Energized by their discovery, they resolved to share Samuel's story with the entire town. They decided to organize a meeting at the community center, inviting neighbors, local officials, and anyone who had once known the gentle soul who had given so much for others. Among those who arrived was Mr. Thompson, the venerable caretaker of the cemetery, whose lined face broke into a reminiscent smile. "I remember Samuel," he said softly. "He was the kind of man who never asked for recognition, yet his actions spoke louder than any words." At the town meeting, the room buzzed with anticipation and emotion. Sarah stood at the front, the original letters and photograph laid out on a table as tangible connections to the past. Samuel Harper's story is one of silent heroism, she began, her voice steady yet imbued with warmth. His selfless act during the fire saved lives and inspired hope. Today, by unearthing his forgotten resting place, we have a chance to honor his legacy. A murmur of agreement swept through the crowd. Mrs. Elaine, an elderly woman with kind eyes, recalled, "Samuel always had a smile that could light up the darkest day. I never imagined his final act would be hidden away like this." Young Daniel, who had grown up hearing tales of local legends, added, "My grandfather used to say that heroes live on in the hearts of those who remember them. Today, I feel that spirit stronger than ever." The meeting soon evolved into a heartfelt celebration of community. Ideas flowed freely. One proposal was to plant a tree in Samuel's honor, a living symbol of renewal and resilience. Let this tree remind us that even when life seems buried and forgotten, new growth can emerge from the tiniest seed of courage, Mr. Thompson declared, his voice resonating with quiet authority. As the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the town, Jack, Sarah, and a small group of volunteers returned to the cemetery. They set about creating a small memorial next to the original coffin. Carefully, Sarah placed the locket and letters on a stone plinth, ensuring that Samuel's memory would be preserved for generations to come. Standing there, with Buddy sitting contentedly at their feet, Jack mused, "Who would have thought that one dog's bark could lead us to something so extraordinary?" Sarah smiled, her gaze softening as she watched Buddy's tail wag happily. "Sometimes, the universe sends us little signs to remind us of what truly matters," she replied. Later that evening, as the town began to settle into a peaceful night, conversations continued in hushed tones among neighbors. "I'm grateful we discovered this today," one resident said. "It's like the past is speaking to us, urging us to be kinder, braver, and more connected." Another added, "Samuel Harper's story isn't just about the past, it's a beacon for our future. It teaches us that every act of courage, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect." In a quiet corner of the community center, as people lingered after the meeting, Sarah and Jack reflected on the day's events. "I'll never forget how Buddy's intuition led us here," Jack said, petting the faithful dog. "It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest voices have the power to change our lives." Sarah nodded in agreement. And that every story, no matter how deeply buried, deserves to be told. As the months passed, Samuel Harper's legacy grew. The tree planted in his honor flourished, its branches reaching out like open arms to welcome all who sought inspiration. The town of Maplewood found new unity and purpose, driven by the memory of a man who had given everything for the sake of others. And whenever Buddy barked, whether at a stray leaf or a friendly passerby, it was as if he were gently reminding everyone that hope can be found in the most unexpected places. The discovery had sparked more than just curiosity. It had ignited a flame of compassion and resilience within the hearts of Maplewood's residents. In every conversation that followed, in every act of kindness, and in every shared memory of Samuel Harper, the town found proof that even the quietest voices can leave an indelible mark on the world. And so, the story of Samuel Harper, uncovered by a determined dog's bark, became a cherished chapter in the town's history, one that inspired generations to come to listen to the whispers of the past and to let the light of hope guide their way.